don't give up. You will get rejected. Just take a shot. If you get rejected, whatever, you have to accept that. I have accepted so much. And then that's what makes so much more fruitful, because you're like, dang, we actually made something special here. So it all started, I actually went to school for classical music. I was in Colorado at CSU, did performance and percussion, and then music education for a while there. So I was spending a lot of time like in a practice room, in large ensemble rehearsals, and then performances as well. And that really gave me a basis of an ear. I always, like, even growing up, I played guitar and just had like a nice developed ear, and just could hear something and play it and kind of understand phrasing and stuff like that. So it really helped me in that field. But during that time, I love like metal music, like really heavy rock music, stuff like that, punk, pop punk. And I formed a little like local band with some of the music students. And that's how I got into production. I actually recorded and like mixed some stuff. We never like released anything, but I got the experience to get in a workstation. And I was using Reaper at the time, which was like a free just like program to try it out, I guess, and just fell in love with it. It was awesome. And then just kind of dabbled with some other things as well, like indie/pop music, and then kind of found my love and home in lo-fi because of the guitar. Like, there's a vast range of like guitar lo-fi music that I just love. And to recreate that, have those nice little singing melodies, is something that I really, really value. So that's kind of how it all started. And then from there, just started networking. I met Ethan. Ethan's been incredible throughout my whole like career. And we still are always busy with the next thing, which is cool. But so went ahead and did that. And then today, I'm doing all the lo-fi stuff under Gyatso. And then I also have a hyperpop alias called Kinser. And so I've been doing like the hyperpop. It's like art music. It is so expressive, and that's why I just really, really enjoy it. But that's kind of like beginning to where we are at now. And so I always had just a random guitar just laying around when I was a kid at home, and because my mom played it. But my mom spent her whole life, she was a cosmetologist and a cosmetology instructor, did nails, all that kind of stuff. Because of her nails, she just never touched it. And then I think got wrist surgery or something like that. But long story short, I just picked it up one day and I was like, teach me how to do this. Maybe I was 7 or 8. And just right off the back, I was just enthralled with it. I was like, I just want to play this. And I'm left-handed, so I actually picked it up left-handed. And then she was like, we're not going to do that. And she like flips it over and she's like, you play it like this and we'll see how it goes. And kind of literally told me how to hold it. And then from there, it was like, boom, that's all I wanted to do. Cause at that age too, I was like obsessed with music and still am, just the discovery of new music and stuff like that. So I got a little bit older, started playing more like distorted. Once I figured out how to do the distortion tone on an amp playing guitar, it was done. I was like, that is it. So I spent that whole time, and then I, like late middle school, I had a teacher approach me because they needed I guess this was freshman year, they needed a synth player for the marching band. And I was like taking just a random African drumming class, and I was like, let's do it. I've never read music in my life. I've never done it. So then from there, I just turned into a band nerd, and still am a band nerd today, just producing music, But it's all thanks, Mom, I guess. Love you, Mom. I really got into instrumental guitar music, and specifically this band or group called Polyphia. They started out as sort of a trio, but it's 2 guitar players, a bass player, and a drummer at first. I mean, they did more metal stuff, and now today they're like big doing pop music, all that kind of stuff. And that's when I started watching playthroughs of their videos, watching them like in a studio, recording, just playing through, and just the stuff they would write and how they would move through the guitar. I was like, first, I want to learn how to do that. Second, I want to use that for my own music ability or writing and stuff like that. There's another group called Chan. So it's all like this, it's like math rock, I guess I could say. So like instrumental math rock artists, not really particular down to like one specific person or artist, but from there, I really started listening to Frank Ocean. And going with his instrument, like his producers, instrumentals, especially his album Endless. It just, the way that it just grabbed a listener, because every part of it, every component felt like it had a place. And so that was very inspirational to listen to and then try to adapt as well. So that's kind of like idols growing up, I would say. And still to this day, I value them. So when I hear something too, it's not, my goal isn't to exactly replicate it, but to use the overall vibe or try to match that sort of feeling. But I really, so in terms of process, the funniest thing is I start with foliage. So I start with like the birds chirping outside or crickets and a little bit of rain outside, and all I do is I record it on my iPhone. So I'll just like go out, and if like I'm just on a walk and I'm like, hold on, everyone be quiet, and I'll just like record it for a second, maybe like a minute or two, and then if I'm like by myself, I can just kind of, you know, roam around and record what sounds good. But I load that into a project very first, and then just kind of mix that a little bit and just live in that space. And then next I go to piano, where I just maybe noodle around and find something I really like. If I hover around, like let's say major or minor key, it's just whatever is gonna induce that feeling. Like I might pick that from something that I heard. Like I want to stay around in this space of like sadness or happiness. And then from there, man, it could be like 5 to 7 piano layers from there that are all kind of like harmoniously moving, some melody line. It's like a symphony. I really treat it like that classical vibe of this is going to be a symphonic sort of work. So whether it be that, and the foliage just gets me in that space, and I can just sit in that for a little bit. But I jam on the piano, get that going, and then whether there might be some ambient synths in the back. And the very last thing most of the times is the guitar. Like even one of my most recent tracks, Wallflower, it was all the like bells, piano, foliage. And then one day I just picked up the guitar on it, started noodling around, and just like found a beautiful melody, and then did a second guitar line that kind of matched and moved with it as the track went. And that it was a sweet writing process, being able to like make the foundation, just leave it for a second, and then come back with a totally different instrument when it's not as fresh, and just like reattack it. It's so true with like my philosophy, and what I learned with teaching is that every individual is different. Every creator, every producer, they may have a strength to bring to the table, whereas like I may have a weakness that, you know, I want a little bit filled. Or that's where Ethan and I work pretty perfectly, because I can take care of, like he can as well, but there's some stuff that I'll bring to the table that is just, we have both agreed on, just like pretty special in the fact that it's this whole, like we talked about, this symphony. And one thing that beginning out I struggled with was matching that percussion, that set sound, whether it be more of a hip hop style boom bap basis, or even on some of our sleepier tracks, that really just subdued beat and mix on it. And that's something that Ethan can just nail, which is awesome. That's kind of his expertise. So that we realized that strength right off the bat. I think when we even first started collabing, I sent out just a stack of like melodies and a harmony, just like a foundation of a track. And from there he's like, all right bro, I'm gonna put on some drums and like send that back. And from there, because he just can develop and make a nice crisp, just that perfect tone on the drums, and then also taught me how to kind of do that for myself as well. But there are some other collaborators too that it's the opposite, or it's a starter from them that might be like some of the melody, piano, different things like that, and then I'll go back and put guitar and then drums on it, and then I'll send it back and they'll put like a little piano something on it. So that's kind of how it goes there. And then even with Ethan as well, he's definitely given me some cool opportunities in the fact that I'll make a track and get it all finished and maybe even put my own master on it, then send it to him. He's like, hey man, let me work my magic here, put a little master on that. And although it is still like under my writing and stuff fully, it's been awesome that he's open to help to get the sound just to that next level. And that has taught me as a producer, because unfortunately and fortunately, I'm the instrumentalist first. So I do the playing, and I'm like, if the production is like mid, I'm like, okay, whatever. So then I might send it out, and they're like, okay, bro, let's do some work on it. Let's see if we can get a little bit more crisp, better sound. But that's kind of it. If I can get into the opportunity where I'm supplying the foundation and, you know, I'm doing a lot of the instrumentation, that's my bread and butter. So if I get in a collaborative process like that, I'm definitely happy. And of course, like, I've dealt with rejection and stuff too. There are plenty of incredible labels out there. And when I was first starting and stuff too, there were a lot of opportunities for both Ethan and I to just call it quits. But, you know, that's just part of it. You know, you can't, it's so subjective, music in general. So it's just cool that we're in a position now where we have established a bit of a brand, a bit of a style. And especially with music that I'm putting out now, it's like, I'm just genuinely happy, because it's like, wow, it developed into where it's at today. So if at any way, any facet, still matching the vibe and the style, you do have to kind of be in the frame of the genre box, if that makes sense. And that's where I have like other genres to branch out more, like hyper pop and stuff like that. But you kind of have to accept that you do have to work within a frame, and you may not get a lot of exception or even notice if you don't specifically stay in that frame. But once you kind of establish that frame, you can do little like interjections and little things that are stylistic and true to yourself. I would say just be unique in your own way, whether that be in a certain instrument, a certain thing that you like to do. Like me, I like to do 2 passages of guitars kind of going back and forth and doing their thing. Whereas like a lot of producers really just hone in on that one and just maybe even have different instruments to support that one instrument. I love the conversation. So there's that. I would 100% say, don't give up. Like, that's so cliche. Everyone's going to say that, but you will get rejected. Just take like 100% of the shots that you don't take, you miss. So just take a shot. If you get rejected, whatever, you have to accept that. I have accepted so much. And then that's what makes all the like acceptance and support so much more fruitful, because you're like, dang, you know, we actually made something special here. And then lastly, I would say, don't do too much, because burnout is real, and do it for fun. Like, as long as you're having fun and enjoying it, it won't feel monotonous. You know, making music is supposed to be this enjoyable thing. And I definitely had times where I was like doing a lot and a little too much. So I took a step back. And even with how there's a lot of artists that release just a ton of music, and I support them. I'm like, you know, if that's what you want to do, if you have all those opportunities, that's fantastic. And I hope that works. But for me, I know, like, I like to release a little bit less and really spend more time on individual tracks, and like an album, like different artists that I look up to, of like, you know, you might see an album every 10 years from them, you know, but not like it's that crazy with me. But I just, I definitely don't want to oversaturate, because that is a big thing. Like, just because you might be getting rejections or exceptions, don't just throw a million darts. You know, have calculated darts to throw and to hopefully find success. And trust me, it's been a lot of trial and error. Like, I'm saying it because I've lived it, and it's just kind of crazy. So here's how I work. And even with Ethan too, like our Into My Heart EP that we released last fall, that was just sitting for about a year, just done. Like, we call it in the vault, where it's in like private SoundCloud links, and it's like done, developed. We're just waiting for the right opportunity. And there is a lot of that right now for me. I have so much in the vault that is just waiting for a certain opportunity, with a lot of different collaborators as well. I've been working with some good friends of mine, Nate to Times, Bedroom Lo-Fi are some of their names, Blocktain, which is great. And even we have all been working, Nate to Times, Blocktain, and I have been working on a shoegazy, hyper pop-esque production for some different vocal artists, for myself, for their own aliases too, just to establish more of a a foundation in production and different styles of music. Because that's the ultimate goal, is to branch out of lo-fi. Let's still have it around and kind of just live off of what is out now, and then trickle in some releases here and there, some little surprises, but really focus on expanding outward. Even Ethan and I have discussed expanding outward in terms of releasing music in different genres, and just kind of moving towards a monopolization, or like spreading our brand and style, if that makes sense. But that's kind of it there. I'm just continually writing, and that's the most fun thing. I would just spend hours just writing music. It's like my video game. So people cranking 90s on Fortnite, and I'm out here just you know. YZKRad is my Instagram handle. Come check me out, and go search up Wallflower by Gyatso. We're going out to all the airbenders. So real quick, Gyatso is based off of Avatar: The Last Airbender. So I don't know if anyone has watched that or seen it, but all the fans, comment below. Get it. Yeah, y'all as well. Hey, have a good rest of your day.